So here we are, another day working on the 1955 wagon. I've got a couple of small things done, nothing major, but that's about to change today. So I've been doing some cleaning up, got the firewall okay for now. I still have a few different things to take off the firewall. I've got a couple pieces to take off the inner fender wells, just kind of some odds and ends here to get done. And then I will end up painting the engine bay. One of the issues I was hanging up with before was that motor mount. I did get that cut out and removed, obviously. I trimmed off the exhaust pipes that were hanging, give me a little more clearance. They're still sitting right there. All in hopes to make room for this guy. So this is a factory 351 Windsor. I know you've heard that out of me before. Coupled up to a C4 automatic. This particular engine, I knew it ran good. Transmission shifted well. We were helping a guy pull this out of a 1969 Mustang. He ended up doing a full frame conversion on it and going with a Coyote drivetrain. The gentleman doing that is a company called Koenig Performance. I'll pop a link up to them. He built some awesome rides. But he had this one laying around. His customer ended up not needing it, so we made a deal and I picked it up. I know I've kind of gone back and forth a few times on what engine to put into this thing. For right now, I want to get this thing up and moving. That's my goal for this season. Get this thing where I can at least drive it around the block. It does have the 3-speed C4. I do eventually plan on putting the AOD to get that 4th gear in there. That'll open up some gear ratios and some other things I can do down the road and just give me a really good cruising RPM for when I take this thing out on the road. Taking a little closer look at the engine, somebody's done some type of upgrades or performance or whatever to it. See, we got the old school Excel super coil. That's going to get gone. We do, looks like, have an aluminum fan spacer on it. We've got chrome blades on the alternator. A couple things here and there. It is a 4-barrel intake, but which intake, I'm not sure. It did have an Edelbrock carburetor on it. Excuse me. That got stolen while it was sitting in storage, but not a big deal. I've got a couple of them. Taking a look. Looks like it's an Edelbrock Performer and then just the 351. I've gone over the differences in the 351 and the 302s. Again, as long as I have the space for it, I do much prefer the 351 for the extra power potential. Chrome valve covers, manifolds that are not cracked in half like the ones on my Fairlane. So we'll see how this goes. I was able to secure some motor mounts that, according to the forum, should work for this conversion. It does have the single, get a good angle here, it does have the single as opposed to the dual mount bolt, which, again, on all the newer engines, just is what it is. So getting back into the engine bay of the wagon. So this is set up for a double mount, which apparently is what the old vehicles had. This one did have a provision for a front mount as well right here, which I obviously will not be using. Cross member, from what I understand, should be able to remain in the same spot, just get a different mount. Worst case, I might be able to fab up something that is not a removable cross member without cutting and welding a whole lot of stuff. So that hopefully will work the way that I want it to. With this guy here, with these being slotted, that might give me a little bit of adjustment to be able to move the engine up or down as need be, but we'll see. The way that I understand that these work is that engine will sit in these top slots. So that's where I'm at as far as the engine goes. Today is a very beautiful day as far as Wisconsin goes in February. It's about 50 degrees, not quite through the end of the month yet. So very pleased to have a nice day like this. Moving on to the rest of the car that I was able to get some work done in the meantime. So one of the things I plan on doing is a third seat. So I was able to pull the middle seat out, get some cleanup done. I will be removing this pan. We'll remove underneath this piece is a spare tire, underneath where the hinge is. I don't know if I can retain that or not. I'm trying to do some more research on the third row seat cars. But got a little more cleanup done. I still need to remove the dash to do the 56 conversion, but I'm going to wait on that till at least I know the thing is up and running. I still have to replace all the glass. I still have to work on the mechanism in the latch, but starting to get a real good idea as to what it's going to take. This may not be full ready for road trip status this particular year, but again, I should be able to at least have it up and driving.
Howdy, y'all. We're gonna put this motor in that car.
Give you my 5 seconds to cut the clip out. All right, so we're at the point we're gonna go ahead and try and test fit this engine in the car, see how it goes. I got my good buddy Johan here with me. Extra set of hands, especially when you're working with something this heavy, this oblong. I'm leaving the transmission attached. We're gonna have to do some wonky moving. I do have a load leveler available. We're going to try and do it with just the carb plate and see how that goes. We don't have to disconnect a whole bunch of stuff because I'm lazy. All right, let's see what we can do. All right, so we ended up pushing the car a little bit more forward, put half of it in the alleyway, which I said we should have done in the beginning, but people don't listen. Took the alternator off to have clearance around the battery box, except in frame. I did just take the power steering pump off to make clearance for the upper control arm. This car is not outfitted for power steering, and I wasn't going to put it on. I might do electronic assist later, but we're super close, so we'll see how far we can get. We're right there. Keep speaking off camera, sorry. So I do not have the exhaust manifold on the driver's side, so I have a little better clearance, a little better view of where the motor mount is. On the other side, the manifold is on, but in the factory style receiver portion of the mount on the frame, there's a mount with 2 notches in it. And with the motor mounts that I have on the vehicle that are supposed to work for this conversion, it's a single pedestal. And right now what is happening is I've got the 2 holes here and my engine mount is kind of right in between them. Now I might be able to shim the mount a little bit to put it into one hole or the other. I might be able to rotate the mounts and see if that changes a little bit. I've got some options that I can do, but we're super close to having this thing in the vehicle. So this is the 351 Windsor. We might have to clearance underneath that pulley a little bit. I got to see how much actual clearance I have, but that might be clear. Coming through, fuel pump is in good spot. I might have to get a shorty oil filter on there. It does clear, but it'd be a pain in the butt to change, but you know, we'll see how we go when we get there. So the main engine on the chassis is right here. The mount is right here. So I do have a little bit of a gap here. Again, that might be something having to rotate the engine mount side to side, but we're close there. We have plenty of clearance here. The engines, or the cherry picker is off, so the vehicle is supporting all the weight. Coming through on this side again, I do have the manifold. passenger side usually is the easier side anyway, but this is a factory manifold. It does clear. Taking a whoop, drop my phone, sorry. Taking a look at the mount here as best as we can with the lighting that I have. I'm losing light really fast, but it's at least in the hole it's supposed to be in. A little bit more adjusting, but it did go in. Again, the way the power steering sat, it bolted in.
All the way down.
It bolted in right here, and it hung out right where this upper control arm is. But again, this particular box is not set up for power steering. I'm not actually losing anything there. The alternator, I did have to move the clearance for the battery tray. Whether I do something different with the battery and run it this way instead of this way, put the alternator back up, those are minor decisions down the road. The short version, engine is in the car. Woo! Hey, so I realized when I was doing editing that I did not record an outro for that particular video. So we did get the engine and transmission in. I did find out later that where those two notches are, a lot of folks are taking a carbide bit and just making one long notch, and that gives you the adjustability. Once you get everything squared and bolted down, it doesn't move. In the meantime, after all that, I have pulled that engine out. A lot of that was for mock-up, and I'm going to be using that engine in my Ford pickup build, which I will have a whole build series on that. But as far as the wagon goes, I know I have everything I need to get that put in. I've got some other ideas down the road about what to do after I get it up and running for like a stage 2 build. But for now, I know what it takes to get that engine in. I do have an AOD. I have an AOD-E as well, the electronic shift, if I wanted to do something more like fuel injected and not have to worry about the kickdown cables or whatnot. But like I said, the short version is I know what it takes to get it in there. The next time I do it, it won't take near as long. It should be able to just fit right in. Having to make an adjustment for the battery tray, knowing I'm not going to have the power steering pump. That one's going to be a non-power steering car, at least for now. Like I said, I might be able to do an electronic steering upgrade down the road. Those are getting more and more common as we go along. But that one's kind of where it needs to be, and that project is kind of put to bed for this season because I did have a couple other things kick up. So, in short, that's the end for this particular episode. As always, I appreciate those that watch. Give a like, give a subscribe. Feel free to throw a comment down. What did you like? What did you not like? Any suggestions for the future or anything I should have done different in this episode? You guys know the drill. I know I'm not the only video that you watch. So any constructive criticism, any recommendations are always accepted. Again, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.